as I said after the game, I thought it was a good sign for our football team, a maturity about us to go out there and prepare the right way last week, and to go out and play a good football game. We're going to have to do the same thing this week. We've got to kick it up a notch. Big game with Mississippi State. So we're excited, and guys are ready to get to work on that.
Mississippi State returns a lot of the same guys from last year. How are they different with Moorhead moving away to the Mullen?
There are some things that carry over, and then you see his wrinkle, his nuances with the offense and what he's doing, and they're still very, very good, and they're still very physical. I think it's important. You know, again, it's the next game. That's why it's most important. It's the game we're focusing on, and it's a big opportunity against a ranked opponent at home. A lot of reasons why it's a big game, and part of that is to win at home in a good environment like we're going to have, and I expect this week.
Gone up against Nick Fitzgerald now a couple of years. What's some of the toughest challenges stopping a guy like him?
Well, you know, he has experience. He's physical. You know, he makes plays when he has to. He's you know, talented with his arm, and he, you know, as always, when you play a team like this, that's not only physical at running the ball, but they have a physical quarterback, and they use quarterback runs. That makes you play with numbers, and then he's talented enough in their receiving core, and the tight ends are talented enough to hurt you throwing the ball. So it puts a lot of pressure on you.
Mark, at the SEC meeting, this coach said that their defense is scary. And lately he's saying they're the best in the country. What kind of challenge? I mean, that puts a challenge.
They're very good defensively. As always, seems like when you talk about them, they're very long. They're big. They're physical, and they're experienced. You know, they have, I want to say, 3 seniors on their front, who's very big and athletic, and 1 junior. Then across the rest of their defense, a bunch of juniors, seniors, and they sprinkle in a couple sophomores. But they're an experienced group, and big physical group, very active.
You said physical. Why? Physicality's kind of been your team's MO. How do you challenge them to match Mississippi State's physical?
You know, it just, I guess it is, because that's the nature of this league, and you have to be. And certainly you could look to the success of Mississippi State because of the way they play. And you know, they're as physical as anybody you're going to play in this league, and so if not more. So you have to match it. You know, it starts there. But again, there's a lot of other things that are going to go into it, but that's a big piece of it.
Is it good to get the second O-line a lot of reps, knowing that they might get their number called a lot this week?
Yeah, I think it was good just in general for us to get a lot of guys in there. But I want to say we played 11 offensive linemen, so it was really good to get some reps for them, to get their feet wet, get some experience.
Along those lines, the young guys, did any of them pop when you watch film, either offense or defense?
You know, a lot of the guys did some good things. You talked about the offensive line. I think Darian Kennard showed some good things. You know, we haven't talked much. He's not so much a young guy, but Luke Fortner's really doing some good things. You know, Luke's played some good football. Mason Wolf's doing some good things. Again, not a young guy, but Kinjera Daniel is playing good football for us, and we need that. The outside linebacker really liked the way he's playing. Jordan Wright got significant snaps because Jamar Boogie was a little bit banged up last week, so we held him. But Jordan Wright did some good things. We talked about Lee Allen, Daly, Zaire getting a touchdown was big. You know, Keaton Upshaw got hurt last week in practice. We're going to have to redshirt him, so he's going to be out for the year. But we did play Brendan Bates some in that position. Chris Rodriguez did a good job. You know, you could go on and on. A lot of those guys I was impressed with.
Do you expect Boogie back this week?
Yes.
Mark won the ball with the film, obviously had a tackle, lost a sack,
He did a good job. He's powerful at the point of attack, but some things that showed up was he needs to get in shape. So he needs to get his butt moving a little bit there. So He knows that, so we'll continue to push him a little bit.
Mark, after the game, Terry talked about how comfortable he felt compared to just 2 short games ago. He credited the coaching staff, but have you ever seen anybody improve like he has, and what does that say about his ability to receive instruction?
Yeah, it does say a lot about him because we've seen that. You've heard me talk about that now at least 2 or 3 times, that he makes improvement often. He takes the coaching, he works at it. He comes in early, he stays late, he does what he has to do to do the studying on his own, and also take the coaching. So does not surprise me much because I anticipated that. I mentioned that after week 1 in here, that he's a sophomore, and in game 1, and that there was no doubt in our mind that he would improve, and he has.
Mark, you're focused more on your own program, but when you look at your start and how it's really made the SEC deeper, how do you feel about that, and how do you feel about the league in general at this point?
Well, just, when we watch the crossover, you see it, and when just this past week getting done early for a change and being able to watch some football, just in general, it doesn't surprise me. The league is deep. We all know that. Like I always say, there's nobody that's going backwards. The teams are working extremely hard to improve their program, and I saw that. One team that just jumps out at me, many of them are, but I watched Vandy, and Vandy's a good football team and had every opportunity to win at Notre Dame. So it says a lot about what they're doing.
You guys had a lot of success in third quarters defensively. I don't think you've given up a point in that quarter. What's changed for you guys in the third quarter of this season, and what are you seeing?
I don't know if much has changed. I think the experience of our group helps, and the group being intentional about going in the locker room, it's a sign of maturity. Our team getting with their groups, the leaders within the groups, discussing things before the coaches get in there. I like that, and I think they've been intentional about that, about getting together, sitting with each other, reviewing the things that are hurting us, how to get them corrected, things we're doing good, how to attack, and so on.
Does that kind of also apply to the end of the second quarter? I think State was one of those games last year. It was pretty close, and then we just kind of fell off right before the impact.
Well, that was a big topic last year. You knew how I felt about that last year because you know how strong of a team it is, and you're in that environment. And I didn't feel like we played our best and had an opportunity to go in either tied or up or down 3. And that's a big difference between being down 10 and having all the momentum. And so we learned from that opportunity, and that was big this year already. I want to say Florida, we may have been in the same situation, and Eddie and I discussed that, at that moment, and we were much more successful in this year. And it's not always going to be that way because it's hard. You got to make the first downs. You got to understand what you're trying to do with the clock, and but yeah, that was a big turning point in the game last year at Mississippi State for sure.
Mark, after you beat Florida, Dan Mullen said he saw similarities between what he did in Starkville and what you're doing here. Do you see that?
I do, and Dan and I have talked about that, and of course I've watched the success that he has along with everybody else in this league, especially when you play them every year because you just look at their team. And again, you always saw in their team's length and athletic ability, and so again, we're trying to be as big as we can and as athletic as we can, and part of that's recruiting and part of that's development, like we always talk about, and now we're getting some experience with that as well, and that's what this team has for them. They have all those things, and they have experience.
Why don't you make the final decision to say you're back to receiver after you bounce around?
I think he was just most comfortable with that, and we discussed it, and he is talented with the ball in his hands. There's a lot of other facets of the offense, and we love Zaire, and he's a great kid and works hard, and he's very dynamic, and he's got some speed. So I'd like him to put it all together to help us some out there because we need that speed at receiver.
Max Duffy said back on Tuesday that it's kind of crazy to think that he's here now instead of a year ago. He never thought he'd be in this situation, but now that he's here and he's kind of got his feet wet in college football, what have you seen out of him so far with your program?
Just Max is one of those guys that he's very mature. He just kind of goes about his business, does it in a very professional way. He works on his craft all the time. He's talented with his punting. You could see him getting better already, and that's a good sign for us because he has some ability. He's got a really strong leg, and again, he has the talent to do different kicks. So really like what I see out of Max, and glad we have him.
Mark, those two features that you did for the SEC Network after the Florida game, I thought you looked great. You looked very presidential, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
Well, thank you. I'm not used to getting any compliments.
Do you enjoy doing things like that, and can we expect some more of those in the future?
In what way? In the locker room? As you guys know, you haven't seen many features with me in the locker room. I feel like that's an intimate setting with the team and myself, and I don't often let people into that because it's just what I like to do with the team, and I understand there's a portion of it, with promoting and things like that, but, I just really feel like what goes on behind closed doors with the team stays in there, but in that case, and the network was in there, I'll be honest with you, nobody even asked me. I just got talking and they were in there, so I really didn't. So it was really authentic because I really had no idea they were coming in. So I meant to talk to you about that. Yeah, I knew it was going to. Yeah. So but I was glad the people got to see it because it was special. I thought with the you saw the genuine excitement from our team, and you saw the team and us and the staff, how we feel about John and Josh and the things we're going through behind closed doors. You got a little peek at that, and that's all good as well. So it was a nice piece, and glad you liked it.
What makes Mississippi State's rushing attack so potent? What is it about them?
Well, you put together a physical offensive line, a dynamic back, and a big beast at quarterback. So that's a lot of good things. And their tight ends, they're big, they're strong, and they're explosive. So, and they just they put a lot of pressure on you. The quarterback run game, when you have a guy like Fitzgerald, is fast and he's also big and strong.
After the Florida game, you said that the cornerbacks matchup with the receivers you thought was probably one of the most important matchups. What is that this week?
It's going to be the same because, again, you know what I'm going to say. We have to play with numbers. We got to play with numbers in there. They make you do that, and then therefore it puts a lot of stress outside. And, if you're an offense, and you hear me talking about it a lot, that, it creates an opportunity for big plays. And so we have to match up and we have to win some of those one-on-ones because we have to put some pressure on those guys.
There's a small sample with Fitzgerald, but what do you see so far that makes him even more dangerous than last year?
Just maturity and just experience. He's still, he's fresh. He's only played in 2 games and hasn't been close. So, he looks good.
How similar challenge that Terry presents to your defensive practice?
It's similar, in some ways. In some of the design quarterback runs, in some of the reads, so it helps. But why it's different, because we all know like the designed runs, both for them and for us. There's opportunity, but they also can be defensed. What really hurts you is when things break down in those guys. And you see what Terry does, and the same with Fitzgerald, because you have to be disciplined in your rush lanes. Therefore, you just can't be just running up the field at them all the time because they could pull it down. There could be a draw, design quarterback draws, or they could just pull it down when they see a gap. And you saw that with Terry this last week. I mean, that's what makes it very, very difficult for defense coordinators at times to stop because they could have everything matched up very good. And then a guy just pulls it down and runs it for 54 yards or whatever it was for a touchdown. I mean, that's hard to overcome.
Can Danny Carter decent look in practice?
Denny's, he is similar, I'd say, to Fitzgerald in those ways because he's strong. He's one of those big, strong runners and can also throw it. So, we may, he's practicing with our offense, so he doesn't give us the scout team looks. But when we do go good against good, we may get some looks with him in there because we practiced on Tuesday and Wednesday portions of the practice, offense versus defense.
Mark Hudson feel like he was score off the trick play. Was he nothing more than involved there?
Pardon me? With Zaire's?
Yes.
Just motive to get him the football, and get him going. But obviously with our playbook, everybody knows everybody has a bit of deception at times, and just gotta, they always look pretty when they work, and you look very silly when they don't.
I was thinking about possible factors giving this some say something.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, we always have a bit of deception. We always have a few plays here or there, like everybody does, and it's always something for somebody to look at, and it could be plays off of it as well.
Speaking of Terry, have you kind of opened the playbook up a little bit more as we're going?
I mean, Terry's done a great job with the playbook. It's always like that with inexperience. It's making sure they're doing things that they do well until they get their feet up underneath them. But he's always done a good job of picking up the offense. You got to understand when you're doing things like that, the old school stuff, progression 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's chalkboard stuff. How many people really do that? You know what I mean? You got to have an awful lot of time and operation, and even in the NFL, you're seeing things more segmented to half the field, or and so no, I don't. Okay, I got a little background music. I like it.
Wait. Am I good?
Good job. Good.
How's Jordan Jones playing?
You know what? He played really good Saturday. He did a nice job. He really was disciplined. He was good in his fits, and he was really good in pass coverage. So he did some good things.
You feel like he and Cash are working together?
Yeah, I think they're working very well together. It's been a nice mix, and Cash, played good again, and the two of them together, I'm happy with. Yeah.
Are you playing Jordan Jones more in pass coverage than ever?
No, it's the same defense for the most part. Give or take a few things. What they did Saturday put them out in space a little more maybe than you would see all the time, and he did a nice job with that.
Are you still optimistic working with him?
I am. I expect him to be out there this week. I do. Yeah. He's getting there. I think more and more opportunities. You'd like to see him continue to step up and make plays and make competitive plays. And he had a couple opportunities Saturdays that you'd like to see him make. And one of them is just simple things with hand placement, and that again comes with opportunity and getting a bunch of catches and opportunities. So we'll continue to work with him.
Has Lynn Bowden made the transition all the way to a wide receiver? Do you feel it seems like he's a lot more comfortable out there this year?
Much more comfortable, and again, I've said it often. Lynn's a bright kid, and he gets it. He just needs to be coached, and he needs the reps, and needs to look at the good things and the negative things on film and build from it. So yeah, I think he gets better with every opportunity.
Mark, you talked about what you think the atmosphere is going to be like. Are you looking for something similar to the Georgia game a couple of years ago?
Well, I don't know what to compare it to. I just hope and expect to have a great crowd. I'm sure we will. The Big Blue Nation has not disappointed us in these big opportunities, and the team is excited about being here and being in this environment and working extremely hard this week to give ourselves an opportunity to win.
Or did you know Coach Moorhead, or were you familiar with his background at all?
Not much. I just got to know him a bit, through the league and the meetings, and just really impressed with him. Really good person. He's a sharp football mind, but I really enjoy being around him. Really pleasant guy, good guy, and we both share an affinity for Italian restaurants, so he gave me one when we were at the meetings. So,
Coach Benny Snell is 2 touchdowns away from breaking the career all-time record from Randall Cobb. Obviously that's not what it's about on Saturday. How are you keeping him focused on the ultimate goal?
Yeah, I don't think there'll be any problem with that. There's many opportunities and records, I'm sure, that Benny's either passed or coming up on, so I don't think that would distract at all. Knowing Benny, he's worried about playing good and helping his team get an opportunity to win a big game.
Is he lobbying to play a little bit more quarterback after his rating?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, we had that opportunity last year where they didn't cover Steve and he threw it out there and we dropped that one last year. So against, I think it was South Carolina. So we're working on that too, getting them to throw a little bit out of the Wildcat. So.
Mark, how much of a help is it to you that arguably your best player has maybe your best work ethic or one of the best and is one of the best teammates in that locker room?
Well, the good thing is I don't even know who you're talking about right now, babe, because I really mean there's several of those guys that could fit that what you just talked about, and I like that about our team, and it does show a sign of maturity, and we have an opportunity to build on that every week, and this will be another opportunity, and for these guys to continue to do what they've done, and I think the team is very close that way. They genuinely care about each other. I think that was evident again this past Saturday with the guys excited for guys to get in and play and have some positive things happen to them because it gets hard. It's as I mentioned, there's a lot of good players on our team, and we're deeper than we've been, and there's only one football. Guys want carries, guys want catches, they want to play, and you understand that, but they have to earn their way on the field, and it's really difficult to keep 105 guys extremely happy because they do care about their personal interest as well, and that's okay, but not at the team's expense, and I think they understand that.
When you're building a program, how do you get to that point? How do you get to that point where you've got a strong work ethic and the teammates are rooting for each other? Does it go back to recruiting and getting the right kind of kid, or is it developing in the locker room like you talked about? Or?
Both. I think both. The recruiting the right player that fits and understands his role, and then being intentional about the development and the leadership and what you're teaching with the team aspect. You're never going to be 100%, but you strive for that, and you're seeing that with this team, and they're very unselfish, and but again, you're never going to be 100% in that aspect, but we're much better than we've ever been, that's for sure.
All right, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.